back in the NCAA tournament. They're getting ready for a showdown with Delaware. She is the head coach at the University of Maryland. She's Brenda Frese, and she's back with us now here on GCR. Coach, it's Glenn and Paul. It's great to chat with you. Thank you for taking the time, and congratulations on being back in the tournament.
Oh, thank you so much. We're ready to go dancing.
You know, I was thinking about this. It didn't strike me that it's been 3 years since you guys have hosted the NCAA tournament. Of course, we all know what happened in 2020, and last year everybody had to pick up and go down to Texas and do it that way. Does it make it mean a little bit more? I'm sure you'd rather be doing it coming off a Big Ten title. I'm sure you'd rather be a number one seed, but does it mean a little bit more knowing it's been a while since you guys have been able to do this at home?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, to be able to be one of the top 4 seeds and to be hosting so your fans can come and watch your team play. On the flip side, I mean, really, up through our junior class, nobody has played in the NCAA tournament at home. So it's a unique thing for us that we're rebuilding within the team just because of all the circumstances that have happened. But this is what you work so hard for, is to be able to be one of the teams to host.
You speak about circumstances. I know it's kind of been like a trying year for you guys just to have everybody on the floor. And, it looked like coming out of the chute this season, you guys might have been like an utter monster. And then, just keeping players healthy was kind of an issue. How good do you feel about where you are as a whole going into the NCAA tournament, Coach?
Well, yesterday was the first day we finally had all 9 healthy available players.
By the way, that's
so
a good time to
like,
have them.
Yeah, it felt like we had an army. I mean, it was probably, it was by far one of our best practices. The kids are really locked in, and it felt like we had a ton of numbers. So, credit them. I mean, they have been through so much adversity between injury and illness and just a lot this season. But, I'm hoping all of that was for a reason, to be able to trend the right way here in March.
Are you able to go back and point out and say, look at what we did early on in the year when we were more complete against Baylor? And do you feel like that's more of a referendum, say, on what your team is when you have all of your players on the floor as you're now going to have going into the tournament?
Yeah, we definitely point through that we've been, even that Baylor game, we were missing two to three players in that game.
Jeez, so, I didn't even remember that.
I just think the adversity has made us more resilient. It's made us a lot more tougher. And, this is, the strongest our roster is going to be with the 9 available players that are all healthy. And so, we are excited. We've been through a lot this season and, are more than prepared for what lies ahead.
She is Brenda Frese. Of course, Maryland getting ready to host Delaware in the NCAA tournament. She's with us on Glenn Clark Radio. Coach, this obviously this is Maryland basketball, right? Like, this is the time of the year. This is what you guys are built for and to win championships. Is there a chip on these players' shoulders because you guys lost in the first round of the Big Ten tournament? Again, it gets a really good team, right? Like, the Big Ten was so loaded this year, but does it create kind of a chip on the shoulder that this isn't what Maryland basketball is supposed to be doing? We're supposed to be the team that's making deep runs and hoisting trophies and cutting down nets.
Yeah, well, I think, twofold. I mean, it shows you how hard it really is to be able to do. I think the schedule, the conference, obviously, all 5 teams, had a chance to be a number 1 seed leading into the last week of the season.
It's amazing.
I think having perspective of just how much the conference has prepared us. But yeah, I mean, this team is, they're a bunch of winners. They hate to lose, and to lose in that first round. I've told them the story, when Alyssa Thomas's team was here, they lost in the first round of the ACC tournament and went to a Final Four this year. So, one doesn't relate to another, how far of the conference tournament you go, but it's putting it all together at the right time.
Do you feel like the league, the way the league sort of stepped up and was so much deeper, to your point, this year, do you feel like that maybe has sharpened your team more? Not to say that the league was down all the other years that you won, but I think we all know it was a bit more top heavy this year. Do you feel like that sharpened you more going into the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, no question. I mean, I think sometimes you can get a false hope if you're beating teams easily and, you don't have that competition that goes down to the wire. So, we've been in a lot of close games this season. We've played 3 of the 4 number 1 seeds, throughout our non-conference schedules. So, all of that is going to, pay dividends for us here in this tournament.
Brenda, obviously, as you know, in Baltimore, like we think we should probably. We're hoping the Reeses actually just choose to have more kids at some point. Like we're hoping there's going to be somehow more on the way. How neat has it been for you to see the two of them interact the way that they've been able to interact on campus? And for those that don't know what that family has meant to your program, but obviously specifically when you have someone who is simply as talented as Angel is, how much has that meant to your team to have a leader like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great story, and I hope all of our Maryland fans are cherishing it because it's such a small window of time to have two elite players like Angel and Julian come through, and their relationship, their dynamic as a family is so close. They obviously bleed Maryland through and through, but it's one of those that you got to pinch yourself because this is my 20th year at Maryland, and I've had a set of sisters, but never a brother-sister combo, and it's truly an incredible thing to be a part of and to be able to witness.
I mean, it's so cool, and it's a neat story that I hope that is comes more commonplace, right, as years go on, right? Like I hope that it's I would like to be able to use siblings to get more siblings to Maryland over the years. I think that that's a good thing that could occur continuing on. Coach, I'm going to dumb it down, right? If you can finish the sentence, if we're going to make a deep run in the tournament, we need to do blank better. Could you finish that thought for me?
Oh man, as a coach, you think you need to do everything better.
That's fair.
We need to, share the basketball more. Our scoring has gone down a bit, and we've got to be able to rebound.
Oh, it's easy as that. Now you just got to go do it, right?
Yeah, no question.
It's just as easy as that. You just sort of explain it that way. When you bring up sharing the basketball more, right? Specifically, we know what kind of shooters you have on your team. You have a lot of. Is it as simple as, hey, we need to get it out? We the shots are there, right? Like we know we can count on so many players that you have that are capable of knocking down shots. Is that as simple as that we need to have more trust in getting the ball out?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. Absolutely with the trust factor, but like I said, just the fact that we had a stat the other day that only 3 players all season have been at every practice and every game on our roster.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Which when you don't have your full roster there every single day, that's hard to build that chemistry and that trust on the offensive end, the defensive end, whatever you're trying to accomplish. So for us, those pieces, like I said, we hope to have that all week and make a deep run so you're getting more practice time together to be able to complete all of that.
I wanted to bring up, it's been a couple of weeks, but I think it was the Ohio State game, correct, that I was watching, and the boys were doing the interview with you post game because I want to say was it their birthday that day? Was that the reason?
It was a good memory. Yes, it was.
So knowing what they've been through, knowing their journey. And now kind of being at the age where it feels like they can maybe, is it fair to say, appreciate it a little bit more? How cool has that been to sort of share this a little bit more with the boys at this point?
I mean, you said that correctly. I mean, on Sunday, it's the first time they were, chomping at the bit to come down to practice with me, early before the selection show. And, it took me a moment to be like, oh my gosh, they finally get it. They finally understand what's taken place. So yeah, it's been amazing. I mean, they truly get it. My son this morning was filling out his bracket.
That's cool.
And they're all in.
Are they coaches? Do you feel that in them? Do you see that like they sort of approach it the same way that you do?
I have one that absolutely has a mind of a coach, and then the other one is a point guard on his basketball team. So they're really cerebral, understanding the game. So that's been a lot of fun.
That's cool. That is a really cool. And it was such a neat story or a neat moment to see them share that with you, Coach, and obviously everything that they've been through. Hey, and then just quickly, a thought on Delaware because that's first, obviously on Friday. Do you have to have the conversation about? There's probably a player or two there that wanted to be at Maryland, right? Like, this is not. Players on the other side of the country. There's probably a couple of players on that team that wanted to be here that maybe eye up this opportunity more than a lot of other teams might, that this means a little bit more to them. Do you have to maybe remind them a bit. And of course, we also know that there are some really good Delaware teams, and thankfully, Elena Deladon's no longer a part of that program. But do you have to have that reminder for your players getting ready for a first round game on Friday?
For sure. I mean, Jasmine Dickey, who is their player of the year in the conference, grew up coming to camp here. She's out of Baltimore, Maryland. They have a lot of local players from our area on their roster. So they're going to be fired up. Coach Adair, used to coach at Georgetown, actually lived in our neighborhood. So, there's a lot of common ties. She's phenomenal coach. What she's been able to do to turn that program around in 5 years. So, I know they'll be more than prepared. And let's look. I mean, every team in the NCAA tournament is going to be ready to play and is there for a reason.
There's no doubt about that. There's no doubt, but just maybe a little bit more personal. All right, Friday, 5 o'clock, down in College Park as part of a doubleheader. If you can't get there, it'll be on ESPNU on Friday for the opener against Delaware. Coach Brenda Frese, you always make us so proud. Can't wait to see what your team does in the tournament. And glad you got everybody ready. Glad we finally have all the bullets in the holster and ready to go for the NCAA tournament. Thank you for taking a few minutes for us this morning, and best of luck in the postseason, all right?
Thank you so much. Go Terps.